cooperator, a condoler, a facilitator, Faisal, to make things easy, to make the future world we want to build easier. We don't have to have stripes on our shirt or nothing. The people are dumb because they think, well, that's a nigga. You got to be trying to get some power because that's what niggas want. They ain't never had none. So that's not true. We had tons of it. And it's not whether we like it or not. But we're not doing too bad. I don't think we could do it. There's nothing I could imagine that we could do that it would be more fun than what's happening right now. I can't imagine anything. The stuff that they doing with the prop, that don't even count. It's where we fit in this. You know what I mean? That's what's happening. That's the only thing that matters. The other things are side shows, like, okay, if we was hooked up to what they want to hook up to, we would be crazy. Okay, we'll move toward a close. Francis Fukuyama, end of history. End of history is the end of a cycle. That's the way when he was talking about the end of history, he was meaning the Soviet Union has fallen, and that's the end of that cycle of history. That's the way I'm doing it with us. That there's no end of history, long as it's keep moving forward. Everything that happened 2 minutes back is going to be history, right? So
as they talk, we're witnessing the so-called unipolar influence of the U.S. to a multipolar.
Oh, it's gone. What the U.S. Look what they did with it. They didn't stop wars, they made wars. In fact, during this period, they did more wars than all other time. They did wars. They killed people. They didn't fix nothing. Because that arrogance, we won this, we took this. You know what I mean? And then, see, this is the thing I've been wanting to say. If you defeat a tough opponent, this guy is bad. He's championships. If the U.S. defeats the Soviet Union, they should establish, you don't talk to them like they're crazy, like a little old child, and make fun of them. Because then he got a reason to fight now. So if you did all that, and then you got Yeltsin, you got, what was the guy before with the little birthmark up here, I think. Gorbachev, then you get Yeltsin. When you get Putin, ex-KGB, a red flag on his heart, you know what I mean? Yeah, he gonna say yeah. Hey, that's what you can see you can see who he is, what he do, what he's about. It's all right there. You don't have to ask no questions about, well, where's Mr. Putin coming from? Well, he's been there forever. Well, he let Medvedev, whatever his name was, run the show for a couple of days, but he was right there telling him what to do. And then you look at Russia. Russia is on the comeback trail. They're not going to just, I'm going to get mad and throw it all in the water. No. Charge of the Light Brigade. So what he did was, let's let them run right into this. Where are they headed? We done told them don't do it. We're determined to F everything up. Well, okay, go ahead. Right? You can see that's what Putin doing. China's doing the same thing, and the world knows. You talking about sending weapons to China, to Taiwan. Why all of a sudden now you want to start trouble all over the world? Where we at, right? It's clear. Everybody can see it, right? There ain't no. That's the thing about it. Remember, I was telling y'all about the lizards and everything could change colors, and well, they can do it here. But out in the woods, when they change colors, you can't hardly see them because it fits in with the woods. But if they're in here and they eat up all the little flies and everything, they cannot change that color. It's an artificial color, right? There's nothing in history, in nature that comes like that on that flat surface. So you can see the poor thing is standing out there and you can see him, right? Everything the U.S. does, everybody can see it. Everybody can see it. He's out there because he can't change that color. That color don't exist in nature. Okay, we'll move. Is it a shift? We call it a tectonic shift. The tectonic plates and all that stuff. But this is what is happening. This is the end of history, but it's not the end of his story. It's the end of his history. It's the end. It'll never be the end of his story, but he's playing a part in his own destruction and his own decline. And so it says, just like when the movie is over, the end. And if we put up the end tomorrow, it'll be at a proper time. The end for Boss Man. Tectonic shift, Iran, China, Russia. Tectonic shift not realized. Okay. So this shift, although it's earthquaking and shaking, the people involved don't feel the shaking. They're just numb to it. Russia reborn. I would Negroes' forgiveness. Well, we don't want to talk about the Negroes and their forgiveness syndrome, but that's what they do. Chinese 4,000 plus years. I did look at one of those things last night, but I looked at a new one, and it was the historian, the great historian, the great record keeper. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, I saw that one. But see, the Chinese are smart, so they're not messing up everything. They bring in everybody with them. They're bringing their whole history, and most of their history is only 100 years of communism, right? They done reach back, and they bring in everybody. So, hey, you can't argue with that. They bringing everybody with them, and they building them up like you guys really did us a good job. You was talking about China from day one when it wasn't no China. These were the great wars. These are the great strategies. These are the great historians. We're the keepers of history. When everybody else was in the caves, they were technically in the caves in Europe. EU mean caves and hillsides and the rope to bind, and of course we know what that means. But they were really in Europe. They was in Europe, caves and hills. They were really cavemen. And the Chinese was wearing silk robes, silkworms, all that come from China. They were advanced. They had ups and downs. So now they back. That 100 years, the Opium War, insulting them and all that. They think we just gonna do this because we bad. The Japanese did them in, the British did them in. Man, they had it bad. They did have it pretty bad. They had it almost bad as Negroes for a while. Technically, they might have had it a little worse. The rape of Nanking, 1937. The slaughter, even the things that they didn't mean to do, like the Great Leap Forward was a great leap backwards. I know they're lying. They say 30 million people died on it. And that was a movie, it was called 42. It was 1942. That was a bad year for China. Good God Almighty. But they pulled through. We just want to help them not become arrogant. And we want to let them know we've been with y'all all the time. But you can't don't go, you done had 4,000 years of history, so don't get a new bag of chips and stuff and start going crazy, right? You should be able to reflect in your history and see that we have what you did right, what you did good, and keep doing the things that are good. And the Chinese have those theories about harmonious society. You ever notice that when they talk, even way back, harmonious society, the 5 concentric circles, all that stuff. They've been into that all along. Yin and yang, right? They've been into that all along because it's real. And when you see some of these people, you kind of get the idea. Some hadiths say there was 121, right, prophets, 100, something like that, 1,000. And then you get the feel of, wait, so Buddha was probably, uh, he was bringing the message. That's the message he brought to his people. They might have corrupted it a little. And then when you hear American Indian lore, good God Almighty, and the great expected one, the reviver, the renewer, and all of that, all the names they use for the people that they was expecting and waiting on, they're the same ones you're talking about in Hadith and everything. Yeah. So when you look around the world and now see before when these Hadiths were written, people didn't have access to all of those. And why, go all the way to China to seek knowledge? You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Somebody knew something. And that China just meant a sign of ancient and modern blending together. Okay, I'm gonna speed up. I'm not gonna mention 1986 when we really gained focus on where we was at that time. If y'all remember, I had an outline and it talked when they had not broke in, they just took, paperwork, accordion folders and all that. And I wrote in there, big victory. Y'all can see I wrote big victory. And that's what it was. It was a big victory for us then because it outlined clearly what we would be dealing with in detail for the future. The stuff that some had this something the Chinese were saying, life could be heavy as a mountain or light as a feather. Ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. What you got to figure out where all that stuff comes from. Because Chinese been big in medicine all that time. Okay, we'll kind of pass up some of the stuff, create doubt, suspicion, U.S. motives, abuse, Okay, they missed their calling. I was going to talk about the Owl Hoot Trail. That's what America's on. Anybody know what the Owl Hoot Trail is? Look up Owl Hoot Trail. Anyway, just for the fun of it. Owl comes out at night most of the time, and the Owl Hoot Trail is the bad trail. They got the uphill road, and then they got we talk about it all the time. The high road, the low road. Well, the Owl Hoot Trail and all the westerns meant the bandits, and it meant the robbers. See, because an owl comes out at night, and So the Owl Hoop Trail is the old cowboy expression for he went bad, huh? Owlhoot. Yeah, Hoot, Owl Hoop Trail. So we was going to talk about the Owl Hoop Trail. Just keep going till they get to Owl Hoot Trail. They might have Owl Hoot this, Owl Hoot that, but anyway. So, cause and effect. Is that what it says? Yeah, outlaws and the Owl Hoot Trail. They would say stuff like that. Well, how is so and so, man? How's he doing?